Okay, so I cut that clip first. So now I guess this is part 2, I guess, of my video of me reading the book aloud to my pretend students, which would be you. So, Howard B. Wigglebottom learns to listen. Meet Howard B. Wigglebottom. Everyone say hi, Howard B. Wigglebottom. Howard is always in trouble at school because, well, Howard just doesn't listen. During story time, instead of quietly listening, Howard bounces around the room. Howard B. Wigglebottom, please sit down, be quiet, and listen. But Howard doesn't listen. Let's take a look at all of our friends' faces right now. Our friends' faces look really worried. They're not engaged with the teacher. Their eyes aren't on the teacher because they're worried about Howard, their friend. To me, their faces look worried. Think in your mind, do you think they look worried? Would you be worried if your friend was doing this too? I think I would. Howard B. Wigglebottom, you are bouncing too close to the fan. But Howard doesn't listen. Wow, that looks like that hurts. Let's take a second and let's think about a time that we got hurt. And how did that make us feel? Probably not very good, huh? That's probably how Howard's feeling right now. Hey, Howard, watch your step. At lunchtime, his friend tries to warn him, but Howard doesn't listen. Look, his friend was trying to be helpful and say, Howard, you might get hurt. Look out. Because there's a banana peel. Oh, no. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. After lunch, Howard's friend tries to tell him something important. But Howard doesn't listen. Her face looks sad. Keep your eye on the ball, Howard. On the playground, Howard's teammates tried to help him. Boink. But Howard doesn't listen. Man, we can also be thinking about our friends.
Rylan Russell, please come to the office. Rylan Russell, please come to the office. And Jude Sternberger, come to the office, please.
I'm so sorry about that. Let's think about our friend. And if our friend's trying to tell something, I wonder how our friend was feeling when he tried to warn Howard about the ball. In the art room, the teachers remind the class, kids, try and keep the paint on your paper. But Howard doesn't listen, so the teacher asks him to take a time out. See, it's not safe when Howard doesn't listen. Because he didn't listen, he couldn't help keep his friend safe. Our friend has paint on them now. That's not very safe, or is it kind? Howard looks a little sad now. I wonder if it's because he has to be in timeout, or I wonder if he feels bad. Let's take a second and think about that. Do we think it's because he's in timeout, or do we think it's because he hurt a friend? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to talk to a partner about that. And then you can share your idea, and I'll call on 3 so I can hear what you and your partner talked about. And it could be both. Maybe you think Howard's feeling the same way. He feels sad. Howard does not like being alone and in trouble. He thinks and thinks about his day. He's thinking about all the things that happened. Howard makes up his mind. From that moment on, he will try very hard to be the best listener he can be. That sounds like a great idea, guys. I'm excited to see. Oh, the next day, Howard does listen during story time. He waits his turn to talk and then asks a question about the story. Guys, let's look at our friends' faces now. Their eyes are on the teacher. They are listening. Howard is able to join his class. His friends don't look scared right now. His friends don't look worried because he is safe. See if you can remember. Yep. See their faces now. Back then, when Howard was being all crazy in the van and bouncing around, not listening, not keeping him or his friends safe, to now, look at that classroom. That looks like a place I want to be. Howard gets a #1 listener star because Howard is really listening. Wow, I am feeling super proud of Howard right now, guys. While walking home, Howard uses both his eyes and his ears to help stay safe. Howard is really listening. This is a really important time that we got to make sure we're listening and keeping things safe, because if he wasn't listening, if he didn't have those big listening ears on, he wouldn't know if cars were coming by. And he needs to be safe. And he was doing that. He was keeping himself safe and others safe by listening. Please hang up your backpack and clean your room now. When Howard gets home, he listens to his mother. Okay, Mom. Howard is really listening. Awesome ears, Howard. That's what the squirrel's saying to him. So Howard gets extra time to play and have fun. Howard B. Wigglebottom is really listening. Oh, time for a bedtime story. Please brush your teeth first, Howard. Howard B. Wigglebottom is really listening. Because Howard was listening to his mom and being engaged with her mom and keeping everyone safe, he was able to have some more fun. He was able to have more time to play instead of maybe being in trouble or being in timeout like he was. Well, almost all the time. Look at him. He has this little eye open. It looks like he's being a little sneaky. All right, friends, we're going to see about Howard's tips and tricks on how we as students can be great listeners. Let's see his tricks. How to be a better listener, he says. #1 is to sit quietly. All right, you guys are all doing a really good job at sitting quietly. I'm really proud of you. Oh, okay. #2, use both your eyes and ears to help you listen. Oh, see, I see some of my friends. Sometimes it's really hard to get distracted with the room. So raise your hand when your eyes are on the person that are talking. Is it easier for you to listen to them when your eyes are directed at them? Raise your hand just quietly if you think that is a helpful and safe choice to sit down and have your ears and eyes on the person speaking. Oh, me too, friends, me too. I think that is a good idea. #3, please don't interrupt. Wait your turn to talk. Ways we can do that, we can do that by raising your hand, and that lets me know that you need something from me. #4, try your best to understand the person speaking. Sometimes that can be hard, but if our classroom family does a really good job at keeping everyone safe and everyone feels safe, we'll be able to ask questions and know that no one's going to judge us because we all have questions. And if you have a question in your mind, I'm sure someone else has the same question that needs to know the answer too. So, #5, ask questions if you don't understand. Oh, did I just say that? Yeah. #6, remember rules and directions. This one can be tricky, but it's important to remember the rules and directions so we can keep everyone safe. When everyone is safe, we are ready to learn and we are ready to have an awesome Rockstar day. All right, #7, pay attention. That means to be alert and really know what's happening around you. Those are the tips and tricks Howard was giving us because you got a #1 listener star. So now we can be #1 listeners like Howard, and we can help keep everyone safe just like Howard turned around his day. Howard was at the end of the day keeping everyone safe and made smart, safe, and helpful choices just like I know you guys can. All right, let's think about ways we are going to be awesome listeners today. So I want you to turn to your partner, talk about maybe one tip. Maybe it's, I'm going to try and keep my eyes on the person talking, or I am going to be alert, which means I know what's going on around the room. Or maybe it's, I'm going to raise my hand if I have a question. Those are just some examples. Talk to your group about what you are going to do today to be a 1-star listener. All right, friends, talk to your group, and then I'll call on people to share. All right, that is my book. And what I would say to my class, I think this would also be a really good morning book to read, and then kind of at the end to ask questions. And so they have a commitment of the day of how they're going to be a good listener, how they're going to be engaged, and ways and tips to do that. And I think it would be a good reset. Also, I think reading a book in the morning can be a way to calm our body down, get ready for school. And yeah, so that's Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen.